Greetings, ghouls and ghoulettes. It's your old fiend Corey from the Twin Ports Horror Society. This evening, we are joined by three people who represent HauntedDuluth.com. If you didn't know, HauntedDuluth.com is a great resource to find out about all of the spooky events going on in the Northland during the Halloween season. It's also home to Twin Ports Terror, which showcases short and terrifying stories from local writers. We have Matt, Brooke, and Sean here with us today to tell us all about it. Let's go back to the beginning. Tell me a brief history of the origins of this site and how everything started.
Yeah, I'll give a real quick intro. So I got connected with Matt in college, and Matt reinvigorated some Halloween spirit in me, and we'll go to Matt to fill in those details, and then Matt, you could pass it back to me, and I could talk about what I do with the website.
Oh, my Lanta, perfect. This is just like a good campfire story. This is how you do it. Okay. Shanzi and I, we met in college in 2006-ish, and we worked together on and off on little projects here and there, stage shows, and eventually I started putting him in my films and stuff, and he was always my go-to. He's my Bruce Campbell. Sean Zarn is Bruce Campbell. Put him in a bunch of stuff, and I made a film about Halloween one year, and he played the doppelganger to me, basically, and he played someone who rediscovers Halloween and has an appreciation for it. And ever since we went through that whole process and did actual trick-or-treating and actual egging of houses and stuff for the film, I think it reignited that spark of Halloween and all things scary in Mr. Sean Zarn, who has now become the mayor of Halloween. And back to you, Mayor of Halloween.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. So when we did that film, and Matt forced me to go trick-or-treating, and I did so reluctantly. This was when Matt was in film school in Wisconsin at UWS, and it was just shortly after I had migrated to Duluth. And then shortly after college, Matt had to leave us for a bit and go to Eau Claire and do some work. And then when while he was gone, we stayed connected. And then one day, like, we got big news that we were going to go plan a visit to Matt. We went and visited him in Eau Claire once, and then we called him a few months later, and we said, well, we'll schedule another visit sometime soon. He said, not to worry, I'm coming back to Minnesota. And we're like, oh my God. So I started making all these crazy plans for what Duluth should be doing for Halloween. And because I think that what we do in Duluth for Halloween is great, but it's just not enough, and I wanted more. And so when Matt came back to Minnesota, we started doing a lot more watching scary movies. He forced me to watch just a bunch of movies that I didn't want to watch, but it turned out that they were actually really good. And we started talking about grandiose plans for what we should do. Things like involving being really creepy in Anger Tower, and doing things like a pumpkin drop, which is kind of like a New Year's Eve ball drop, and stuff that we thought, well, how do we organize all this? We need some kind of a platform. We need a Facebook page, and we need a website. So we kicked off a website, and it was called This Is Halloween, and it turned out to be not very good, and it was kind of expensive, and building a following turned out that it was just going to be like a lot of work. And meanwhile we have like movies to watch and trick-or-treating to do, and haunted houses to go to, and movies to make, and we didn't get all that far on that project. But then we started to go, okay, we can pare down a little bit what we need to do, so that we can just build one piece at a time and build up. And we started imagining some kind of characters so that we could have a voice. And Matt, just naturally being the king of Halloween, decided that it was time to introduce that character to the world. So in doing that, we found ourselves in a new chapter in the story. So Matt, what happened there? You got to show other people besides just me that you are in fact the king of Halloween.
Right, the king of Halloween. Yeah, this has been so long in coming. Just how much I love Halloween and how much it's always shaped me, and it's always been my favorite holiday and everything. And to harness that love and throw it out into Duluth to try to make Duluth the Halloween capital of the world is what our hopes were for this, because we've been to Anoka quite a few times, and they claim to be the Halloween capital of the world. And I don't want to throw a lot of shade at Anoka, but it's pretty underwhelming what they have going on, to say the least. And I was like, well, Duluth does more of that shit like in a single week than they do all year. So we need to try to make Duluth the Halloween capital of the world. So I was asked, I work at the TV station downtown here, and out of nowhere, I was asked, well, you love Halloween, Halloween's coming up. Why don't you do like a little web short for our news that talks about all of the events that are happening and the times and dates and what's safe, what's kid friendly, what's all the things. And it's what we have already been doing every year anyway. We find all that stuff and then put it up on our site if we had it at the time. And so that threw it out into a larger medium, and I wound up doing the live stream on what Halloween events were happening in 2017, and that went over huge on the website, and then I wound up on the TV doing that, and then that was the first time that people got to see the King of Halloween character and what he was all about.
But today, he is the king of Halloween.
Not
Mr.
just
Matt
today,
Rasmussen.
Kristen. Every day.
Every day, he's the king of Halloween.
24/7, the King of Halloween, year round.
He's not kidding either.
He's not.
This
The
is
suit
real.
comes out in June.
No, yep. This is just every day around here, everybody.
And what he represents to Duluth. He has kind of grown a bit since then, and we use him for fun little things like that. Back to you, Mayor.
Okay, so in doing the King of Halloween, the timing could not have been more perfect, because our resource just personally for navigating the Halloween season was hauntedduluth.com. That was the website that listed all of the events in the area, and it turned out to be, we weren't connected with the person who ran that website. We just appreciated that it popped up like clockwork every fall, and we could find out what was going on and make our plans for the season. But then what we hadn't realized is in the off season, Megan Callahan was the person who made that website and took care of it. And just as a one-person operation, it got to be too much. And so I believe she'd posted in some places online. She already built a big network of followers who use that website every year. But I don't know if we were maybe not logged in and following the Facebook page, and there was maybe a blog post. Maybe it was directly from Haunted Duluth. I can't remember exactly what the detail was, but Matt called me one day and he's like, "Oh, guess what? The owner of Haunted Duluth called me and they want to, stop doing the website." I was like, "Oh, well, okay. What should we do about that? Like, I guess we should, kind of fill in somehow." And he goes, "Yeah, she contacted me. She wants me to take over the website. So we'll just keep the Haunted Duluth website." It's like, "Oh, great. I don't have to invent a new website like the terrible one that we made last time. We'll just take over the existing one." So it was doing the King of Halloween bit that we overlooked the posts that Megan said, hey, I'm looking for somebody to take over and do this going forward. But fortunately, Megan found Matt because of the King of Halloween bit. And so transferred the website to us, and we kind of copied the style that was there before and built a website that kind of worked and did the job during the first year. And that was mostly me doing my best to use a free web editor, and it came out looking pretty much fine. And it was so much work that I just decided I don't want to take it down during the off season. I just want to leave it up and improve it. And then once we kind of got our footing a little bit, and having a website that doesn't take too much work to run, then we thought, okay, now we don't actually have to build a following. We have the attention of, the Duluth Halloween lovers. What can we do now that we have this platform? And so knowing that having a big grand vision of all the things that you imagine happening in Duluth through September and October is a lot to manage. So let's pare it down. So like the second year, I think we had the website, I told Matt and Brooke, like, let's just plan on like just these first 4 things. We didn't get to any of them. So then the following year, I was like, okay, we're going to accomplish one thing. And the idea was to collect stories and hopefully new stories. And we would schedule some storytelling events at like the haunted houses. And we just figured that, okay, these haunted houses would love to have a one-off event where, okay, on tonight in specific, the reason to come out here at 7:00 is we're going to have 4 or 5 storytellers telling ghost stories around our campfire before you go through our haunted house. And so with that idea, I wasn't sure how I wanted to get started. And so then Brooke had a great idea.
And we're into 2019 now.
Yeah, that was what, like 2019?
Yeah, so then I basically just said, well, what if we had like a literary journal for local stories? And we officially launched like the Facebook page for that as of January 1st, 2020.
That's Twin Ports Terror.
Twin Ports Terror. Yep. And yeah, at first I just emailed I left flyers at various universities and posted in different writer groups and such, and tried to email like professors of creative writing groups. And so far I've managed to get 8 stories, which, for just the northern Minnesota and Superior area is pretty good.
Yeah. Like with Haunted Duluth, I think the subscribers don't know, they're not trained to be plugged in to the website year round. So trying to launch, something that's like, using the platform of Haunted Duluth and creating this new idea of, okay, now we want to curate new stories and kicking that off in January. We didn't necessarily expect to get a lot of traction. So what we've gotten so far has been great.
You probably didn't expect that there wouldn't be a Halloween last year either.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did that impact, everything that you guys were trying to do? And then let's talk about this too, because that still came out in the year that there was no Halloween, according to some people.
Right. We super had a Halloween. It was one of my best Halloweens ever. But I guess from my perspective, I was a little bit disappointed that, I wanted to schedule these in-person storytelling events. But honestly, maybe that would have maybe that would have flopped, because like I don't know how we would have gotten the attention to find, you know, somebody, a performer who's happy to read, or a storyteller who's happy to write something. I'm not sure how well we would have been able to get the attention and the participation if it wasn't for people being locked down at home. So all the effort that I would have put into scheduling in-person events ended up going into designing a better website. And so the website is in much better shape now. It kind of takes care of itself. And I'm not an expert in doing this stuff by any means, but there are some really cool tools that you can use with WordPress that just made my life so much easier. Yeah, I think the short version of that, to say the impact, was that I sat at home and worked on a website rather than thinking that I should be out, you know, going to haunted houses and stuff. And
And I sat at home laying out a magazine.
Yeah. And then other people sat at home and wrote stories that, you know, maybe they wouldn't have. And then, yeah, I don't know. I watched a shitload of movies too, which was really, really fun for Halloween, for a change. Matt always manages well anyway, but I haven't followed up with you after Halloween, Matt, to find out how was it for you having Halloween cramped for 2020?
You know, it was the least active Halloween I've had, but I still got so much done this Halloween. It was actually a very packed Halloween for me. The 2020 recap, when I put that together, is going to be pretty epic as well. There were definitely things to do. The King of Halloween was busy. He had a lot of appearances to make, virtual appearances, telling people to stay home and have a safe Halloween this year and eat candy and watch Halloween movies and stuff. We did a lot more stuff in the studio with the character as well. And I got to work on a lot of other Halloween videos that have kind of been on the side burner for a while. And then apart from that, yeah, I did that live stream Halloween night for Rise of the Podcast. That was kind of crazy. And then we took all of the COVID precautions we could to carry out our tradition every year to we have our Ghostbusters Ecto-1 car out here, and we throw on the jumpsuits, and we always hand out candy every year. And so we continued to do that, and we made sure to do it safely with the masks and the social distancing and pre-bagged candies and stuff. And we wanted to spread the message of Ghostbusters and Halloween. And yeah, there was still a lot to do. There were less, like you said, less haunted houses to go to and less movies to go to, but still plenty of Halloween stuff to take care of. It was a busy 2020 for Halloween.
Nice. So it sounds like you were able to stay busy there regardless.
Yeah.
So what plans do you have then for the website for when Halloween hopefully comes back this year?
I mean, good question. Now that we have a few stories to tell, I think I still kind of have, as soon as we can start doing in person again, what I would really like to pick up with is just that first ambition where we schedule some fireside storytelling. And then, you know, we didn't talk about this beforehand. I maybe shouldn't be teasing something out of turn, but the pumpkin drop, which is analogous to the ball drop for New Year's Eve, which rings in, you know, the moment Halloween official begins. And when I say official, I should make a quick distinction. Halloween actually begins on Bat Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah. So Bat Tuesday is the day after Labor Day, and that's the day where there's not another recognized holiday, a widely recognized holiday between Labor Day and Halloween, and summer is over. Like we all agree in this country that, well, that's when you have your last hurrah for summer, your last long weekend. So that gives all the Halloween aficionados the chance to go, okay, no more excuses. You don't get to tell me not to celebrate Halloween anymore because there's not another holiday that I have to do, and you can't give me the excuse that it's summer. And actually, I needed it so that I could hold off Matt and Brooke from forcing me to watch horror movies constantly, because there's other types of movies that I like to watch. But yeah, so Halloween starts on Bat Tuesday and it goes all the way through actual Halloween Day. And so at the stroke of midnight, rolling into Halloween Day, we have to smash a pumpkin to signify the beginning of the official holiday. And so what I really want to do when we can go back to having in-person gatherings is find some kind of a location where we can do that with a full public participation, because we obviously can't just go decide ourselves to go sneak up onto a roof downtown and throw it onto the street. We have to do it somewhere where it's okay for us to destroy a pumpkin, and that's going to be in an area where we can't have a huge gathering so that we're not bothering people. So I would like to schedule that so that the public can actually attend. And number two, I would really like to schedule some reading events of these stories. So we'll probably contact all of the people who have submitted stories for Twin Ports Terror and ask if are you interested in reading it yourself, or if not, are you willing to find somebody who's willing to read it for you? And if we can't do like in-person fireside storytelling, then we could do live stream. Like we just didn't talk about coordinating that for this past year, but we have time that we could schedule something like that. So I think for me, those are my two ambitions.
I'd love to hear Corey read his story in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah. That'd be dope.
So it sounds then like you're interested in moving from just telling people about other people's events to doing your own events. So that's pretty cool. Are you gonna keep doing the magazine too?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And then are you just for people watching then, I'm assuming that you're taking submissions all the time,
Yep.
24/7 for that. Do you want to tell people what they need to do to submit, or what kind of information they should know before sending you something?
A bio is nice. So it doesn't have to be, I mean, if you want it to be something fancy, that's cool. But if you just want to be like, I'm a teacher and I live in Superior, like that's fine too. I just prefer to have be able to tell them something about you. You're welcome to use a different name, a writer name or whatever. And then there is an email address that's actually linked on both the Facebook page and the website. So just email it to that address, and then if you know anybody who wants to make some art to go with it, or you have some art that you want to go with it, please do not hesitate. We're always looking for arts. And yeah, we definitely would love to see more stories very soon.
Yeah, and I'll just add quickly to that. So some of those details are, like Brooke said, captured on the website. We have some pretty loose guidelines for what stories we will accept, and we try to somewhat detail the spirit of what we're looking for on the website. But for anybody that might be considering submitting something, we've accepted everything we've gotten so far,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're pretty broad. We don't want anything that's like pure gore, like gore for just the sake of gore. But pretty much anything that falls into Halloweeny or horror type stuff,
Mhm.
you know, we want all of it. So there's pretty broad range of, you know, number of pages or word count, however you want to look at that.
Yeah. I think we go for like 10,000. What did we decide? 10,000 or less?
We probably put that in there as a guideline.
Generally speaking.
No, nobody has submitted us a story of any size that we thought was way too short or way too long.
Yeah.
If we had something that was too short, we'd probably find a way to work it in anyway, because
Yeah.
why not?
And we accept, I mean, I don't know if this has been mentioned heavily, but we also accept poems.
Yeah. And honestly, if somebody wanted to submit something that was too long, we'd probably just try to work with that author and come up with, you know, can we do this
Sure.
in chapters, where we take one chapter at a time.
Yeah.
So yeah, please write stories and send them to us all year round. Brooke especially can't wait to read them.
Awesome. What about paranormal extraterrestrial erotica? Because I have a whole book on my laptop of that I haven't done anything with. So, you know, I'll just send that over later. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, hopefully some people hear about that and you get some submissions from this video. So that would be wonderful. So do you have any other projects that you want to plug or anything else about the site that you want to mention before we wrap it up here?
Matt's brimming with just trying to figure out what can he fit in the next few minutes.
Oh, there's so many things I'm working on. Oh, so many things that are top secret too. I don't know what to. Oh, I don't know what to tease here. So many things. Well, I could kind of start by talking about the Halloween recaps a little bit. How about that? We'll transition into it from there. So every year that we've hung out and had these legendary Halloweens, I document everything. The filmmaker and me just tells me to take pictures and video of everything we do. And so every year I put together a video recap of our whole Halloween season, and they wind up being epic. Like, we do a whole year's worth of stuff in those 2 months, and they wind up being 15, 20-minute videos. So that has been keeping me busy for a very long time. And one thing that Shanzi and I have always talked about doing and haven't gotten the chance to do yet is putting together a Halloween anthology film. And so when the timing's right and when I have enough of those things all strung together, we'll put them in order and we will have an epic Halloween anthology film that takes place in the area here. Kind of Gravedigger Dave style, but pre-Gravedigger Dave. And it'll star myself, Shanzi, First Lady, and all of my buddies and all the fun stuff we've done. It's like a very funny documentary type style. So that's been the major thing I've been working on top of well, there's a Halloween short that I think the mayor's working on, a Halloween short there. Is there anything that you can talk about for that?
Well, yeah, probably now that you put me on the spot, I was going to finally try to finish it for this past Halloween. This is becoming like the next Spooked in Bridgewater, except I have less excuse because it's only going to be probably 5 to 10 minute film. But Matt and I wanted to start doing, like, I've loved working on film projects with Matt. So I thought, well, you know, here's the problem. Writing is not a huge burden. Like, once we've got inspiration, just something can be written. And filming is so much fun that it's like, yeah, we've got this story. Let's get it good enough and let's go film. Super easy to do, super fun. Well, but then you have to edit it. And like, we all have day jobs and all these other ambitions that we're trying to get to for Halloween. So 2 things with that. One is that anybody who's listening that agrees with me that Duluth could stand to do a little bit more for its Halloween activity, just log on to the website and grab our email and send me an email address, because anything, any momentum that any one of our projects could possibly get, any spark of interest at all, is the thing that will take it from, okay, it's an idea, to, oh, okay, I'm actually working on it because somebody's counting on me to, you know, to work with them and complete my tasks so that we can carry it forward. So yeah, if you want to see more Halloween stuff going on, please drop us a line, because we want some help and we want a kick in the pants to keep getting some of this stuff done. And then for this movie that we filmed a few years ago now, it has to get done. And I've upgraded my computer with better video card so that doing the editing process is not too long and choppy. And I've got a new kind of inspiration of writing good creepy music that I can use for the soundtrack now that I've got some new organ and synthesizer instruments.
Matt, I can tell you like that.
Yeah.
I like the synth. I love synth. Everything about synth is just good, spooky, Halloweeny. It's what it needs to be.
Yeah. So I guess it's good that you asked about that, because now I'm gonna have to say it out loud to the public, no matter how few people see this. The short movie is called "There's a Pumpkin on the TV."
Yes.
And it's just a very short Halloween tale, and so now I have to do that this year. Now that I've said that.
So that's coming out this Halloween, everybody.
Oh,
You heard it here first.
Thank you. I needed that.
How much are
Alright.
you guys allowed to say about Gravedigger Days?
I don't know. Ask Matt.
I'm not sure. There aren't really. I guess I have a pretty long leash with talking about Gravedigger Dave. I don't know what I'm not allowed to say. I mean, yeah. Keith and I haven't really.
There's a public teaser out, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Keith
public.
posted a teaser it was last week or the week prior, and man, that's an exciting thing. So for those who aren't aware, Gravedigger Dave 2 is coming out this year. Part 1 is available now on Amazon Prime, and that's been the thing that kind of dominated my 2020, to be honest with you. And it was one of the last public events that we went to before COVID shut everything down. It was like a week or two prior to everything being shut down. So that came out on DVD, and Keith, brilliant guy. He found a clever way to put together a sequel, and we shot that in like no time at all, using the COVID safety precautions as well. Hey, spoiler alert, Shanzi is in it. It stars the both of us, and it's exciting to no end. I like the story more than the first one, and Keith's currently editing it. We just did a voiceover session last week, and that's it. We've wrapped on this thing already. So he's looking to release that in most likely fall this year, maybe the end of summer, but probably fall. So Gravedigger Dave 2, there it is.
Nice, and I'm actually going to be speaking with Keith tomorrow for an episode as well. So I guess we'll see. People will have to, if you watch this episode first, make sure you watch that episode for more. But hey, I want to thank you guys very much for taking time out of your days to talk about HauntedDuluth.com and Twin Ports Terror. You guys have a great night, and everybody just remember to stay safe and stay weird.
Stay spooky.
Thank you so much for having us, Corey.
Of course.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
again.
God bless you.